The office was silent after hours, the city lights outside painting golden patterns across the glass walls. Elena, the firm's sharp and composed marketing director, sat at her desk pretending to finish reports. But her focus drifted toward Maya, the new graphic designer whose laughter earlier that day had been a melody Elena couldn't shake. Finishing the presentation was important, Elena knew, but her mind kept wandering back to the animated discussion about color schemes and target demographics that had taken place around PM. It was odd how Maya's light-hearted banter and unconventional ideas had stuck with Elena long after the meeting ended. And even now, as Elena tried to concentrate on her work, it was Maya's face that swam before her eyes. Elena sighed, pushing her glasses up her nose. It had been a busy week, and perhaps exhaustion was clouding her judgment. Or maybe, just maybe, there was something to this inexplicable distraction she'd been feeling lately. Shaking off the thought, Elena refocused on her project. The presentation was due tomorrow, and she needed to finalize it. Meanwhile, Maya, still organizing the design boards in the supply closet, glanced up when she heard the soft click of Elena's mouse. "You're still here," she called out softly. "Could ask you the same thing," Elena replied, pushing her glasses up. Her tone was professional, but she couldn't help the slight smile tugging at her lips. "Deadline's tomorrow and I didn't feel like going home yet," Maya said, emerging from the closet with a stack of papers. "Ah, I see you're still working," Elena said, her gaze lingering on the curve of Maya's neck. She quickly looked away, surprised by her own boldness. She'd never been so forward with anyone, let alone a junior employee who'd just joined the company a few weeks ago. Taking a deep breath, Maya approached Elena's desk. "Here," she said, setting 2 cups of lukewarm coffee beside the computer. "It's terrible office coffee, but it's company." As she leaned slightly against the desk, their hands brushed. It was an accidental touch, but it sent a jolt of electricity through Elena. "Thanks, Maya," Elena managed, her voice slightly shaky. The proximity was intense, the silence charged with a sudden awareness of their surroundings. Outside the window, the city twinkled, casting a soft glow that seemed to highlight every inch of Maya's beautiful face. Clearing her throat, Maya straightened up. I've been meaning to tell you," she began, her gaze locked onto Elena's. For a moment, the only sound was the soft hum of the city and the quiet beep of the cooling computer. Elena's heart raced. Was Maya about to confess something about their growing connection? What could she possibly want to say? Before Maya could continue, Elena impulsively reached out, her fingers tracing the delicate line of Maya's jaw. The touch was feather-light, yet it sent tremors through Maya's body. Startled by Elena's boldness, Maya's eyes widened, but she didn't pull away. Instead, she leaned into the touch, her breath hitching slightly. "You," Maya whispered, her voice barely audible. The word hung in the air between them, laden with unspoken emotions. In that charged atmosphere, Elena's composure crumbled. She had always prided herself on her self-control, her ability to keep her personal life separate from her professional responsibilities. But standing in that dimly lit office, surrounded by the remnants of a day's work, she realized that compartmentalization had its limits. She stepped closer, her hand sliding from Maya's jaw to her cheek. The warmth of her skin beneath her fingers sent a delicious tingle through Elena. "What are we doing?" Maya asked, her voice a mixture of surprise and intrigue. Her eyes were pools of wonder, reflecting the city lights like scattered jewels. Elena couldn't bring herself to speak. Instead, she leaned in, her lips brushing against Maya's. The kiss was tentative at first, a whisper of intimacy, yet it held a depth that belied its subtlety. As the kiss deepened, Maya's hands found their way to Elena's shoulders, grounding her, reminding her of the reality of their situation. Their office was hardly the place for such a display of affection. Yet as Elena pulled slightly away, she saw a flicker of yearning in Maya's eyes. Carefully, almost reverently, Elena traced the curve of Maya's neck, her fingers lingering on the pulse point where the delicate pulse throbbed beneath the skin. "This is crazy," Elena murmured, more to herself than to Maya. The weight of their double lives pressed down on her, the duality of their existence threatening to shatter the fragile bubble they'd created. "Is it?" Maya whispered back, her breath warm on Elena's ear. The question was a challenge, an invitation to disregard the boundaries that society had so rigidly drawn. Elena closed her eyes, surrendering to the moment. Perhaps Maya was right. Maybe it was time to rewrite those boundaries, to redefine what was possible. With renewed determination, Elena turned back to face Maya, her lips curving into a mischievous smile. In the soft glow of the city lights, their embrace deepened. The kiss was no longer tentative. It was a statement, a declaration of the undeniable connection that had blossomed between them. It was a testament to the courage it took to love in a world that often sought to confine them to boxes. Outside, the city continued its ceaseless hum, oblivious to the revolution that was taking place within the four walls of that office. Inside, the story was unfolding, a story of two souls finding solace and strength in each other's arms, proving that love, in its most authentic form, could thrive even in the most unexpected of places. The kiss lingered, a silent symphony of longing and desire, a shared breath, a tangle of limbs, and a convergence of souls. In that moment, there was nothing else but the sensation of lips on lips, the intoxicating feeling of being seen and known, of having one's boundaries acknowledged and respected. As they finally broke apart, both women were left breathless, their cheeks flushed, their eyes shining with a mixture of passion and vulnerability. "I'm sorry," Elena whispered, her voice husky with emotion. The apology tumbled from her lips almost involuntarily, as if even she was surprised by the intensity of what had transpired. Maya's response was a gentle smile, a small gesture that conveyed volumes. It was a dismissal of apologies, an implicit understanding that what had happened wasn't something to regret. "Don't be," she replied, her voice equally hushed. The air between them remained thick with unspoken emotions, the aftermath of a storm that had broken within the confines of their shared workspace. It was a potent mix of exhilaration and uncertainty, of passion and trepidation. Elena, ever the pragmatist, was the first to break the silence. "We should probably get back to work," she said, her fingers hovering above her keyboard. There was a slight tremor in her voice, betraying the effort she was making to regain her composure. Maya nodded, understanding the urgency of their deadline. Yet as she turned to leave, Elena impulsively called out, "Wait, Maya." The graphic designer paused, her hand resting on the doorknob. Gathering her courage, Elena continued, "I don't want this to affect our working relationship." The words tumbled out, a plea, a promise, and perhaps a bit of wishful thinking. A soft chuckle escaped Maya's lips. "Elena, we've been working together for a week. We're meeting for the first time outside of work," she teased, her eyes twinkling with amusement. Elena couldn't help but smile back. The tension that had been building dissipated, replaced by a lightness that bordered on euphoria. "Right," she said, her voice regaining its usual confidence. "Well, then let's get back to work. We have a lot to finish." As the night deepened and the city lights twinkled above them, they worked in companionable silence, the hum of the computer and the murmur of their voices filling the office. They were colleagues, yes, but their bond was something more, something that had been ignited in the hushed hours after work and would continue to burn brightly, shaping their lives in ways they couldn't yet imagine. Their shared laughter echoed in the quiet office, mingling with the city sounds. The hum of traffic, the distant sirens, and the clatter of late-night deliveries faded into a comforting background noise. For in that small enclosed space, there was a universe of their own creation. A universe born from stolen glances, shared smiles, and a kiss that defied the boundaries of time and place. It was a testament to the human spirit's relentless pursuit of connection, a silent ode to the power of love to find a way, even in the most ordinary of places.